And what I'm going to do is inside this search component, I'm going to have a p tag, not just normal p tag. I'm just going to say if my state has a loading value, then you don't have to I think I have to swap this into true here and false here because that makes even more sense, right? So if the loading is true, then I have to show nothing, like literally, or else I can have a p tag here. Then I can have a p tag of rendering complete. I can have rendering complete. Okay, did you understand this part? I'm just having a state of loading of null, and then I'm also having the rendering of complete. Now, what you can do here is you can simply say that with the ability of find by, the testing library will wait for some time and then it will try to find that element. In other words, it will wait until it updates at least once. Did you understand what I just said? If I change the state, automatically I will re-render the component, and automatically the state will make sure that this particular paragraph tag is rendered. So what exactly I have to do is I need to make sure that I try to first check a text called rendering complete for the very first time, right? For the very first time. Obviously, it won't be there, correct? I want to check that whether this element exists or not for the very first time. So do I have to use get by or query by? It's query by. I have to first go inside here and then say, this is just a normal rendering component. What I do is I just tweak this into the following. Let me delete the screen debug because it makes no more sense to repeat that again and again, all right? So what I do is I'll first say expect screen, or you can simply have that particular render element here itself. If you are feeling that this is more convenient, then please do this. Or if you want to use the screen option, then that is also completely fine, all right? So let me go ahead with this option now because we have seen the previous thing. Let me go in this particular way. Get by text, sorry, not get by, query by text. Query by text, right? So once I get the query by text, all I have to do is just say query by text of rendering again to be null, because that is what happens, right? That is exactly what is happening. So let me just actually, this will give me an error because screen does not exist anymore. So sorry for that. Let me save once again and then try to have this functionality wired up. Oh yeah, it should not be rendering again, it should be rendering complete. My bad. You know what? Let me just copy the value here so that I don't have any typos. There we go. Save it and then check the first step. And as you can see, the test is passing. So this clearly means that I do not have anything here. I do not have that particular element itself. Now, watch for the magic. What I'm going to do is, as you can see in the cheat sheet, the find by method gives back a promise of an element or a rejection, which in other words means an error. So what you can do is you can either check for an element, or if you want to catch that error, you can use a try catch block here. But we don't have to use any try catch block because the entire goal is to make that test fail if that element doesn't exist. That is the entire purpose. So what we can do is we can just have this as an async function and then say expect await find by text. Now I'm going to just render the find by method here with the help of find by text and then say find by text and literally copy this and then put it here and then say to be in the document. So now let me just try to run this once again. Fingers crossed. And yes, they have been passed. So what can you understand from this, people? It seems that our state has been changed and my element is now available. So what can you get it from this? If you want to check for some conditional rendering, you have to use the find by method. How cool is that? So this is the ability to test conditional rendering. Get by will either give you the element or it will give you an error. All right. Query by will give you an element or it will give you null. Find by is super useful if you are expecting for some element to pop up after a certain point of time. You are completely unsure that it will happen. You are completely unsure the accuracy of that happening, but you are sure that it will happen. So at that point of time, you can use find by here. A method of checking conditional rendering. Right? Perfect. So this is not just the end here regarding the assertions. You have countless amounts of assertions. Some of them are to be disabled to check whether if that element has been disabled. One good use case would be a button. Like if you are submitting a form, you have to make sure that that button gets disabled because you should not abuse the API, right? For Woodpecker, they can understand what I mean. If you're clicking that button multiple times, you'll be sending that request multiple times. In other words, you're literally abusing it. So to avoid that, you can disable the button for once if the user has clicked the button. So at that point, you can test here by clicking it. I didn't teach you how to click it, but I'll tell you shortly. If you click it, you have to check that if that button is disabled or not. So you can literally say to be disabled. To be enabled, again, the same opposite manner. To be empty, if the element doesn't have any text content, then you can have to be empty. To be empty DOM element, if it has no DOM element itself, you can have the to be empty DOM element. To be in the document, to be invalid, to be required, to be visible, the sky is the limit actually. You have countless amounts of assertions. What I'll do is I'll just post some resources after this lecture so you can just go through it, right? Only to not waste your time and make this lecture try. So now, time for us to learn how to fire some events or how to make some events or how to mimic some events, okay? So far we have just tested whether an element has been rendered or not, but we need to check normally with the help of some events, right? Because without events, an application is not complete. You have to check for a click event, you have to check for a change event, you have to check for a mouse over event. So how do we do that? Well, you do have a function called fire event. All right? Fire event allows us to handle for those events. It's as simple as that. You can call any event you want, and then you can pass the any value inside your thing as well. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, one second, let me just have this here. And then, as you can see, we already have these two guys here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to have another thing called query by role, because I don't want to make this just fail. So I'm just going to use query by role. Then let me expect, it's fire event dot, what event do we use for typing, guys? It's on change. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call the change event and then pass the element here, which is nothing but our input element. You can have the particular query by role here. So query by role of text box, all right? We were having text box only, correct? And the second option is where we will put the value inside it. Normally, how do we do by getting the value of an input element, guys? We would have some dot notations, right? We would get a particular event, and how do we access a value of a particular input element? Yeah, it's e dot target dot value. Exactly, correct. So that is how we are going to do here as well. We have to just put the target object here, and then that contains another object because target contains many properties, if you could remember. We have the target of name, we have the target of checked, we have the target of value, we have target of files. So here, since we are having a text box, I'm just going to have the target of value as hi there, peeps. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to screen debug the thing. All right, let me just screen debug it and then show you the value here. Once again, I need to copy the import that particular function. Let me save it real quick. And as you can see, the name now has text, type now has text, and value has now hi there peeps. So this is exactly how you can trigger an event. How easy is this, guys? Because we are literally doing it like a normal user would do. Whatever you have seen here is something which is done normally by a user. You'll first look out for that element, you'll just go there and trigger some events, and then you'll try to check whether if it has changed its value or not. That is exactly what we are doing here as well.